as we get into part 3, investigating Hillsborough, police power abuse, and city secrets. We're going to be covering what has transpired at the city council meetings and what they have said following my meeting with Megan Henderson, the city manager. So without further ado, let's get into this, and I've got some really catching tunes throughout this video about Hillsborough and the secrets that lies within the city.
In Hillsborough's halls, they wear a polished grin. Megan Henderson speaks false sincerity within. Damage controlling counsel, spinning every thread, while real complaints lie buried, truth left for dead. Major Clay Spark sits guarding every door, refusing aye complaints, cover up at the core. When officers step out of line, no scrutiny appears. Silence, voices echo, drowned by crowded fears. We've seen the pattern, we've heard the lies. Watch the city smile while accountability dies. No more mask in our Texas town. Megan's false warmth is breaking down. Clay Spark shield can't hold the light. We'll shine it on each hidden fight. We demand answers, we demand the proof. No more cover-ups under a tailored roof. Megan paints it rosy, we investigated, all is clean, but I refuse the file. Where's the oversight unseen? She nods and parrots platitudes, but actions never match. Promises of justice fade into another past. Clay Sparks, the gatekeeper, shuttering every plea. Claims no misconduct here, but we still see what we see. When filming public streets becomes a reason to detain, yet real abuses stay hidden behind that stubborn chain. We won't be fooled by smiles rehearsed. We break the silence, lift the curse. No mask in our Texas town. Megan's false warmth is breaking down. Clay Spark shield can't hold the light. We'll shine it on each hidden fight. We demand answers, we demand the proof. No more cover-ups under a tailored roof. Hey Megan, where's the courage in your scripted tone? Your we looked into it rings hollow as a stone. Major Sparks, whose loyalty he's bound to rank and file, but whose duty was to justice. Did you lost that while? We stand with cameras rolling, voices loud and clear. No backroom deals can muffle what the public needs to hear. Transparency's not a slogan, you can't just say it's done. We'll keep exposing darkness till the truth is won. Contracts flow through private hands, deals sealed out of sight, while Megan's peer speeches gloss over every fight. Clay Sparks blocks the pathways for those seeking redress. Police culture thrives in silence, this we must address. From illegal dumping calls to wrongful detain calls, when citizens speak truth, they hit those stone cold walls. But we're the rising chorus, refusing to back down. We'll write the chapter where the cover-up is drowned. No more mask in our Texas town. Megan's false warmth is breaking down. Clay Spark shield can't hold the light. We'll shine it on each hidden fight. We demand answers, we demand the proof. No more cover-ups under a tailored roof. We're the heartbeat in the streets tonight, calling out the wrongs until they're right.
Now we have Megan Henderson, the city manager, and the assistant city manager / Department of Public Safety, Tony Kane. My question is, who's the true puppet master here and who's the puppet? I believe Tony Kane is the one pulling the strings and feeding Megan all the bullshit.
Police activists, those represent means state accountability. And we have a little phrase that says, influence that happens to you. So it's great to experience something like this, you will understand. So, first of all, we're address the video that we're talking about. Then the possibility of this video. Some people are going to see that video, so I'm going to explain about that video. My friend was like the loves track something here. She advanced to her place, she walked across the McDonald's, and she ordered some food, and in comes 3 officers. And there's one here just sitting there, and 3 armed guys again, all dressed up in there in military outfits, and makes it to me, and they stand over you, And they start to talk to her, and they tell her, of course, that's going to ask across the street. Now, what you need to do with your identification? Well, my friends wants to explain to them that in Texas, there are illegal cheese dead, and you only have to identify if you are under arrest. Failure to identify is not a standalone, it's not a standalone crime. So they're trying to explain this to children. The officer is really, you don't think I can bring it to the jail. So she gave up her ID, so she actually had her voice updated, she had to give up her identification because for trespassing, not using things that. No, in Texas, you only need somebody's baby if they are being put under arrest. So that's the experience to me that the officer kept telling me that she was making it hard on herself. My question is, since when is mandatory the right to inconvenience for officers? More concerning is that it seems like officers have this them mentality. And even while wearing body cams, it's the female officer condescending and rude to be my friend. And I know that she didn't have a body cam. Why would she get a body cam? Why would she do that against herself? That's because they're quality units, and norm here. It's a police culture here. It's here they have a culture of us, this is done mentality. And the reason why they have that is because we're trained that way. In other words, they're trained that loyalty is paramount to each other. Loyalty to each other is paramount. And they're training emphasizes a confrontation rather than a communication. So it reinforces this mindset. So my question is should he not aware of this going on in his own apartment? I mean, how does he not know what's going on? Could it be because he's not the police chief, he's fire chief, assistant manager, assistant city manager? He also worked at the community college or something as an instructor. You don't see an instructor, you don't see an instructor. He doesn't even have, he has a mail order of phone. It's not even really phone, it's a mail order. So what is he making? And why do we have 50 officers with 80,000 population? It's insane. Most these places like this only have 20 cops, not 50 of this. So the chief, he needs his documents, so I got to say it, but he needs to be more transparent and he needs to be more able to people around him.
Okay, we can have,
That one right there. Sorry about that.
please state your name and, please again, limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Let me fix this mic right here. This is not working. All right, I'll project this, okay. Where to start? Well, good evening. It's timely coming to talk about the corrupt culture embedded within the Hillsborough Police Department, Chief Tony Kane, and all the way down to several training officers. This department has repeatedly shown they have no respect for their citizens, no respect for their own policies, and definitely no respect for the Constitution of the United States. Just ask Amy Howe. She was unlawfully detained, harassed, and threatened with arrest, all because she exercised her First Amendment right to record the police. Manager at Love's called 911 after Amy had already left the property, but instead of verifying facts or even speaking to the complainant first, Hillsborough officers hunted her down across the street at McDonald's and forced her to hand over her identification under threat of arrest. That's not law enforcement, that's intimidation. And it's a blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment. In Terry v. Ohio, the Supreme Court ruled that officers must have reasonable, articulable suspicion to detain someone. In Florida, another Supreme Court ruling, Florida v. JL, the court held that anonymous tip alone is not enough to justify a stop. These officers had neither, yet they detained Amy anyway. Amy wasn't trespassing, she complied and left. But Hillsborough PD, desperate to flex authority, retaliated. Corporal Roseanne Linderman. The field training officer just didn't lose her temper. She mocked Amy's knowledge of the law, dismissed her rights, and treated her like a threat simply because she held a camera and refused to be silent. That's not a lapse in professionalism, that's corruption. Corporal Linderman should not just be fired. She should be charged under Texas Penal Code 39.03 for official oppression, abuse of office, for using her position of power to unlawfully detain and intimidate a citizen engaging in protected conduct. But let's be clear, this is not an isolated Incident, another write-up, Linderman's disciplinary records. The department has a long, disturbing pattern. They have been caught refusing to accept internal affairs complaints that I experienced personally, shutting down citizen concerns before they're even heard. People are afraid to speak at city council because they fear retaliation, because they've seen what happens to people who speak up. In Hillsborough, silence just isn't common, it's enforced. And meanwhile, the same department that crushes public dissent and evicts people from extended stays without due process, treats poverty as a crime, and walks around with body armor and no accountability. So let me say this without hesitation. Fire Chief Tony Kane, fire every officer involved in this incident, and fire and charge Corporal Linderman. It's time to cut the head off the stake and start over before rights are trampled, more lives are ruined, and more voices are silenced. Because a police department that believes it's above the law just isn't failing, it's dangerous. And it's up to us, the people, to hold them accountable. You play stupid games, you earn stupid prizes.
So with this city council meeting, we kind of stepped it up a notch. At least Keebler wanted to hold her sign while I went inside and spoke at city council, and you're going to see that shortly. And then you're going to hear the crazy part referring back to her situation with Officer Roseanne Lindemann. You're going to be amazed at what you hear come out of the city manager's mouth after part 2 in the last video, after being told that these people would be held accountable and that we're completely transparent. Well, let's get into that, folks. And the man of the hour right there, Tony Kane. Chief of Police, Fire Chief, Director of Public Safety, Assistant City Manager, and the Vice Chair at Hill College. Extra, extra, read all about it. Oh, another bootlicker. Another bootlicker.
Again, just state your name, your address, and again, please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Sir, I'll go ahead and identify my name as Jason City, Easy Watchdog. I'm going to go ahead and respect my Fourth Amendment right not to attack myself. That way I'm not doxing myself to the very people out here that have been showing hatred to me today, especially 2 of them that are in here in the comment section here. But I'll go ahead and get started. We can go ahead and hit my time. Thank you. I just want to say good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and the citizens of Hillsborough that I haven't known or no one's mistreated me at all yet. My name is Basil Zangari. I'm a civil rights activist, and I go by the name of BZ Watchdog on social media, where I document and expose government misconduct. I'm here tonight to shine a new light on a serious breach of public trust within your police department and to demand immediate action. On May 6th of 2024, Officer Roseanne Linderman was disciplined for conduct so serious it resulted in a demotion, 10% pay cut, 40 hours of unpaid suspension, and 80 hours of counseling. The internal memo describing her actions of unbecoming of an officer and detriment to the department. I have a full internal affairs investigation right here, by the way. What the memo doesn't spell out, but what the community deserves to know, is that this officer, Linderman, was drunk while off duty, found in a running vehicle while intoxicated, creating a danger to the public and disgrace to the badge. Any ordinary citizen would have been arrested for DUI and lost their driver's license. But because she wears a badge, and because Chief Tony Kane runs cover for misconduct, there were no criminal charges, no arrest, and no transparency. Hell, most of you guys probably don't even know that it happened. This just isn't misconduct, it's a coordinated cover-up. Tony Kane currently serves as both the Director of Public Safety and the Assistant City Manager. That's too much unchecked power in one man's hands. He used that power not to protect the public, but to vary misconduct and protect his officers from accountability. He concealed what should have been a criminal offense, and in doing so, he has lied to the council and betrayed the public's trust. Meanwhile, the same department is bringing in new recruits like Officer Erica Lopez, Professional, respectful young men and women who still believe in what policing is supposed to be. But they're being trained in a department where cover-ups are normal and bad behavior is protected from the top down. Meanwhile, let me be clear, this is not about one officer. This is about a department affected by bad leadership, and that starts with Tony Kane. So tonight I'm demanding that this council terminate Tony Kane immediately from both of his roles. Keeping him in power sends one message to the public. If you're powerful enough, you're untouchable. To the people of Hillsborough, if you have video, records, or personal experiences involving this conduct of corruption in this department, contact me directly. I go by BZ Watchdog Online. I will help you bring the truth to light, even when others try to bury it. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of my time on. Thank you.
Moving along to the consent agenda.
I'm like a bull in a china shop when it comes to trying to move and shake things up and get things moving in the right direction. So you're going to hear Megan talk about problems with the city, the streets, the water, the sewer, all the other stuff that goes with running the city. Then she's going to address Keebler's situation briefly. And I really didn't care much for the outcome and what she said. I feel like there was no accountability and transparency, but you guys decide.
Not working over here either. It's not up. All right. There you go. Thank you. So, I don't want to delve into this too much. You've seen it. I think that I will add is that we do have our updated street condition study for Mexico. This is a contract that we entered into with a company that drives all of the streets, and they do an automated pavement index study. What's valuable about that is they can take the current pavement condition and predict the condition over the next, 3 to 5 years. Spoiler alert, it's bad. So this is what our system looks like on that rating scale. It's sort of worse than we thought. I mean, there were the streets that we thought were in better shape than they are according to the pavement index. But when people say, why don't we fix the street? This is why. Like, that's not a map of potholes. That's a map of miles that need to be completely replaced and rebuilt. So the goal is that every few years we would reassess, and that over time that number would gradually start to get higher. And that if we went from a 50 to a 60, it would still be bad. And that would represent tens of millions of dollars of investment. I mean, I hesitate to guess $20–30 million maybe. We go from a 50 to a 60, and it would still be bad. So people need to understand the scale of what we're dealing with, and that's not to say we're not going to deal with it. You've got to start putting numbers to it so that you can understand what it's going to take to get there on time. Okay? And well, by the way, we'll bring that back to y'all. Second meeting in June in a little bit more detail. We just felt like we had to cover a lot more right now. Next step is water. We talked about the $30 million we put this water development for. We are going to be self-performing pieces. So the next thing that we're going to do is the line in Hummingbird. We've got the sewer line being replaced in Hummingbird right now. Once that's done, we'll do the water line and then we'll do the street over the top of that. Talked about the sewer line in Hummingbird. Streets, water, sewer, drainage. The best we can do with drainage is to try to clean out what we have and keep it operational. You're nowhere near being able to do big drainage improvements. But, I have a citizen drainage concern today. It's not that we're not doing anything, it's that we don't have millions of dollars to it. Goal number 6, deliver essential services. We talked about street crews. Our street crew also is the crew that does drainage and tree trimming and storm cleanup. So with the weather that we've had, they've not been doing a lot of street work in the last couple of weeks. Once they're done working through all of that stuff, they'll get back and be focusing on utility creditors again. We've had more issues with the industrial water tower. That SCADA system got knocked out again in November. Now we know we can operate it by hand, but that means having a physical person out there 24/7, just babysitting it until the computer's back up. So it's theoretically it's supposed to be under warranty, but warranty isn't covering it because it's active God stuff. We are doing some minor repairs at Wallace Park. Want to mention a couple of complaints we received on our public safety department. We got a written complaint regarding an interaction and subjects. There was an internal investigation conducted. That internal investigation was done in the department. Management has reviewed it, and there was no serious misconduct.
We've investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing.
That doesn't mean that there was not need for improvement and opportunities to get better. So there definitely are things that we'll be following up on, but in terms of misconduct, there was not any found.
I've heard that so many times and seen it so many times in my career in law enforcement. I've seen it on the news media where the chief of police and all the city council members will get together and there'll be something major that happened in the city. Somebody's accusing them of something and they're saying, well, we don't admit any wrongdoing, but we're going to just to assure the public to make sure that we didn't do anything wrong, to make sure my men were right, men and women were right. We're going to do a full independent investigation. So to me, every time I saw that was the Cold War for me to understand that the investigation was going to be covered up. This was from my experience in 14 years in the union, seeing hundreds of investigations going through, and then also speaking to internal affairs sergeants who were right there next to it. If the city is legitimately going to investigate something, typically it will be their internal affairs. Even the inspector general will come out and look into the matters. But when they really have to come cover it up, it was my belief from exactly what I was being told from the internal affairs sergeants and from what I saw that they would hire these independent law firms. Now, let me tell you why they would do the independent law firms. Because, for example, I'm going through an administrative appeal right now, or even if you end up in some type of court litigation, that person could be subpoenaed in, the internal affairs sergeant, the inspector general. But when you're really trying to cover things up, what they do is they invoke the attorneys. And the reason why you invoke the attorneys is because there's a protection, and it's called attorney-client privilege. So when they can assert attorney-client privilege, they don't have to give up their report, and you can't cross-examine the attorney who did the investigation. And these attorneys are not like investigative attorneys. They're just attorneys. They're normally employment attorneys who protect the employer. So why would an employment attorney who protects an employer be doing an alleged investigation to make
Material to outside agencies just because we don't want to verify that there's no internal bias. We want to take things very seriously, and that's our priority. We also got a telephone complaint alleging that we mishandled the personnel matter. Personnel matter that may have been alluded to earlier tonight. There is an investigation underway, again, just to verify what steps were taken, and we are consulting with outside parties again to verify the internal bias. And I think that the point to make is that every opportunity to hold ourselves accountable is an opportunity to be the best that we can be for the citizens of Hillsborough. We don't need to defend ourselves for the sake of defending ourselves. We need to review and then be proud or take direction depending on what's warranted. So I think the things that we've done stand up to objective scrutiny, but we're making sure we're not just, don't take my word for it. We're checking into it.
No, Megan, it sounds like you're doing your job as the city manager and covering your rear end, not leaving your butt and your assets exposed to liability, which this officer has. This officer has committed a crime, violated police policies, because I have the policies. I can show you the policies that she violated. I can show you where Tony Kane has covered this up if he investigated it. I spoke with Commander Brian Fornes. He's concluded the investigation. I'm requesting the investigation currently through open records So let's see what their investigation concludes. Even though we know it's biased, we know they've investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. And now they've got this outside agency looking into it. It sounds like the former officer that was speaking about the incident was dead on exactly what they're doing to cover things up, as you can tell from her little spiel here. But anyways, guys, if you've got any kind of tips, stories, please reach out to me. All my contact information is going to be up above. In the meantime, I'm out of here. Enjoy this song.
In Hillsboro's halls, they wear a polished grin. Megan Henderson speaks false sincerity within. Damage controlling counsel, spinning every thread, while real complaints lie buried, truth left for dead. Major Clay Sparks sits guarding every door, refusing II complaints, cover up at the core. When officers step out of line, no scrutiny appears. Silence, voices echo, drowned by crowded fears. We've seen the pattern, we've heard the lies. Watch the city smile while accountability dies. No more masks in our Texas town. Megan's false warmth is breaking down. Clay Spark shield can't hold the light. We'll shine it on each hidden fight. We demand answers, we demand the proof. No more cover-ups under a tailored roof. Megan paints it rosy, we investigated, all is clean, but I refuse the file. Where's the oversight unseen? She nods and parrots platitudes, but actions never match. Promises of justice fade into another past. Clay Sparks, the gatekeeper, shuddering every plea. Claims no misconduct here, but we still see what we see. When filming public streets becomes a reason to detain, yet real abuses stay hidden behind that stubborn chain. We won't be fooled by smiles rehearsed. We break the silence, lift the curse. No mask in our Texas town. Megan's false warmth is breaking down. Clay Spark shield can't hold the light. We'll shine it on each hidden fight. We demand answers, we demand the proof. No more cover-ups under a tailored roof. Hey Megan, where's the courage in your scripted tone? Your we looked into it rings hollow as a stone. Major Sparks, whose loyalty he's bound to rank and file, but whose duty was to justice. Did you lost that while? We stand with cameras rolling, voices loud and clear. No backroom deals can muffle what the public needs to hear. Transparency's not a slogan, you can't just say it's done. We'll keep exposing darkness till the truth is won. Contracts float through private hands, deals sealed out of sight, while Megan's peer speeches gloss over every fight. Clay Sparks blocks the pathways for those seeking redress. Police culture thrives in silence, this we must address. From illegal dumping calls to wrongful detain calls, when citizens speak truth, they hit those stone cold walls. But we're the rising chorus, refusing to back down. We'll write the chapter where the cover-up is drowned. No more masks in our Texas town. Megan's false warmth is breaking down. Clay Spark shield can't hold the light. We'll shine it on each hidden fight. We demand answers, we demand the proof. No more cover-ups under a tailored roof. We're the heartbeat in the streets tonight, calling out the wrongs until they're right.
BZ Watchdog.